We live in a world where everyone is competing for our attention. Current events, politics, and yes, dog videos. A typical social media user spends 2 hours and 23 minutes per day, mindlessly scrolling through apps like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. I still hate saying that. I used to believe my social media usage was under control. But after looking at my 1-week average, I cannot believe what I just saw. I spent 21 hours on social media in 1 week. That's 3 hours a day I could have spent on something productive. Something that would change my life for the better. To put it into perspective, if I spent that much time reading books, I could have finished not 1, but 2 books in a week. If I stuck with that habit for a month, I would have finished this stockpile of books from my bookshelf that I still haven't read. Aside from stealing my time, it's also stealing my peace. Social media has made a drastic change over the past decade. What used to be a platform aimed at fostering connections quickly became a time sink of anger traps, hate, and division. The comment section of just about any post that has differing opinions can quickly become venues for pointless debates. And I'd have to admit, I've been in so many of these online debates that I don't even remember the arguments I made. Sometimes when I check my notifications, I receive responses from comments I've made way back. Anticipating for these responses and thinking of counter-arguments makes me feel anxious, even when I already put my phone down. And over time, I realized that none of these conversations is gonna benefit me or the person I'm debating with. It came to a point where the whole thing just became toxic. I was on my phone whenever I was bored or anxious. A quick glance on my phone quickly turns into a doom scroll, and before I knew it, my 20 minutes were gone. That's when I decided to quit. As a content creator aspiring to make a living on social media, staying off completely is not an option. I decided to keep my social media accounts logged on my computer, and that way, I'll be more purposeful in using social media to share my ideas rather than just consuming content. The first few days were the most challenging. The habit of scrolling became so entrenched that I found myself scrolling through random things like photos and Lightroom. What's surprising to me is that I had no intentions of using those apps. Turns out that this is no longer just a bad habit. It has become a compulsive behavior, an addiction that has the same effects on our dopamine as any other forms of addiction, like drugs and alcohol.
Dopamine makes you feel good, satisfied, but also increases your drive. That drive is important because it's the drive that makes you do things over and over again. In today's world, there are endless apps that are trying to trick your brain into releasing dopamine without being fundamentally good for you. App developers have found a way to hack our reward and addiction pathway, and they did it without a substance.
Within 3 days, I started getting used to the idea of checking my phone less frequently. I began noticing details in my environment that I often missed or cared about. Oh, you really look cute in this photo. This is the view from our balcony. I really like the ambience of this garden at night. Every movie I watched felt like an experience. You know, like how it used to before we stopped paying attention to the movies we watch. I suddenly had more time to do things I only planned about, like meditating for 20 minutes a day or starting a journal. I was becoming more comfortable with being bored. And if there's anything good about being bored is that you start thinking of ideas. I have more ideas for future videos in the past week than in the past month. Social media prevented me from living in the present. I was so busy trying to not miss out on what's happening thousands of miles away that I began to miss out on what's happening around me.
It's been too long. Won't you come back to me? If I did you wrong, I'll make it right, you'll see. Back to my arms. I would give anything if you would give your love to me.
Quitting social media is more than just freeing up time. It's also about reclaiming control over my own mind. It made me realize just how much power I had given to these platforms. The constant notifications and the need for validation through likes and comments, it was exhausting, both mentally and emotionally. Now that I've stepped back, I'm learning how to actually enjoy the moments without feeling the need to share a story. The urge to pull out my phone and start recording is just fading. I'm also learning that it's okay for a moment to exist without an audience, and more importantly, that I do not need to seek approval for every part of my life. Another fantastic benefit, my focus has improved. I no longer feel the need to multitask constantly. Before, I couldn't even finish watching a 10-minute YouTube video without checking my social media. But now, I can read an entire chapter of a book without even seeing my phone. Did I feel disconnected? Absolutely not. In fact, I feel more connected to the people that actually matter. Without constant noise, I'm able to focus on nurturing deeper, more meaningful relationships with my friends and family. At the end of the day, social media is a tool. And like any tool, you have to be mindful of how you use it. Staying off social media has worked so well for me that I think I'm going to try my very best to see it through. Now, this is not me saying that you should stop using social media, as you may be in a completely different situation from where I am. But if you get anything from this video, I encourage you to take a step back and reflect on how it is impacting you. Are you really using social media? Or is it using you?